Good morning, everybody. Michael the Maven. In case you guys haven't been following, Fuji has been leaking specs out, very specific specs about the brand new X-T4. Official announcement is coming next week, but we've seen leaked images and very detailed specifications that tells me this is pretty much what we're going to be seeing in the camera. And with every new camera, I always tell my viewers to apply 2.5 questions. Number one, what can this camera do that no other camera can do? In parentheses, for me, and at what cost? We're going to answer those questions, and at the end of this video, I am going to give you some analysis as to why Fuji is about to become the #1 APS-C mirrorless camera in 2020. FujiRumours.com has an inside source, pretty much more or less. And in the past, I don't really look at rumor sites or take them seriously. But when a rumor site is coming out with very specific, detailed information, and they said this is coming from a source that it's come from in the past, and then they start leaking images, it's pretty reliable. And most of the questions about the camera, I believe we can answer. I am a proud owner of the X-T3. I've never sold it. I love it because it does some things for me that no other camera can do. We know the cost is going to be about $1,700. And so for this extra $200 over the price of an X-T3, what are we getting? From the images released, we know that it is going to have a fully articulating, probably touchscreen monitor, which is going to put it on par with what we've seen in the Panasonic and the Canon cameras in terms of usability. That touchscreen is critical for vloggers who need to look at the monitor, see if their framing and focusing is working, the exposure. It is a tremendous upgrade, in my opinion, over something like the X-T3, which is an awesome camera in the first place. The second thing we know is the 6.5 stops of image stabilization. And in my opinion, those two things off the bat are worth an extra $200. Absolutely, no questions asked. Image stabilization is going to allow users to take longer exposures handheld. In some cases, you may not even need a tripod. If you're really, really good, you may be able to get away with a second, maybe 2 seconds if you're leaning against something. So that adds tremendous value in my opinion. But those aren't really features that we don't see in other cameras. The specifications that really stand out to me about the X-T4 is its 15 mechanical frames per second. 15 mechanical frames, if it is in real world practice within that realm and ballpark, it puts it on the level of flagship DSLR sports shooting cameras that we saw from just a couple years ago. Even the 1DX Mark III supposedly is shooting at 16 frames per second mechanical. And now that we have a really affordable APS-C camera that can do it for a fraction of the price, to me, Fuji is signaling that they are absolutely tripling down on the sports shooting market. About a year ago, I published a video about the Fuji 200 f2 lens, and I said that lens didn't make sense because there really wasn't a high-end professional sports shooting body that went with it. And I kind of feel like the X-T4 is coming into that space where professional shooters who want an affordable APS-C camera, this is going to be it. Part of that problem with the mechanical frames per second was the requirement of a new battery, and we understand that there is a new battery coming. We've seen pictures of it. It's almost twice the milliamp hour capacity, and because of this, we also are able to actuate the shutter at a rapid pace. With this battery, apparently comes a new speed charging feature, and that would be amazing. Obviously, we won't know until we get it in our hands and find out how fast this improves the actual charging ability. The other truly standout feature that I'm seeing in the specs is the 240 frames per second video recording for 1080. This is critically important because when I tested the X-T3, one of the home run features that I found about it that really wasn't accessible in pretty much every other camera was its ability to engage high-performing autofocus face detection at 120 frames per second. And if these specs say this is going to do 240, the first question I have is it going to be able to do it with face tracking on a high level? In everything that I've seen about the processors being upgraded, it seems to indicate this is going to be the case. So if you put this on a gimbal with good IBIS, and they're playing nice together at 240 frames per second with phase tracking, absolutely this is something that no other camera can do, at least at the time of this recording. in this size and cost of a camera body. So what I'm saying is there are absolutely some features here you're going to want to take a look at and ask yourself the question, is it worth $200 extra? Now, we do expect the price of used XT3 bodies and even new XT3 bodies to drop pretty quickly over the next few months. It's a wonderful camera. So if you don't need a lot of these extra features, I would say stick with the XT3. I personally will be buying an XT4 as soon as it's released. Obviously, there's a couple other little things that are pretty interesting. LCD resolution has been increased to 1.6. We have 2 new simulation modes. Sounds like there's a multiple exposure mode. But even if this was all the features that were in the camera, for me personally, I would absolutely buy it at this price, and I'll probably be selling my XT3 here pretty shortly. Some of the rumors that have been confirmed as to not happening are the 6K video. There was some rumors that there was going to be 6K 60, and it doesn't sound like that's going to happen. Other questions that I have would be, please, for the love, Fuji, make the deep menu touch sensitive. That would be a very welcome improvement. When we take all of these features together, Fuji has kind of evened the score in terms of the usability with the front-facing monitor. They're establishing themselves as class leading for mechanical frames per second in an APS-C camera body, which is significantly more than the Sony cameras. I think we're looking at, if not the #1 high contender for APS-C sized mirrorless camera of the year. Sounds like Canon has got it locked down with the R5 and R6, and all eyes are now pointed on Sony. What is Sony's next move? In any event, I thank you guys so much for watching. I would love to know your thoughts and wishes on the upcoming XT4. We'll know very shortly anything else that we've missed. If you're struggling to learn your Fuji cameras, check out one of my many tutorials on those. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.